I'm joined by Monte Keleher, founder and CEO at Fitted. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
I want to give the audience a chance to get to know you a little bit. So, knowing that you've recently moved to Boise, why don't you tell us a little bit about your personal background and when your family moved to Boise?
Yeah, so grew up for the most part in Bay Area, San Francisco area for the most part. And in December of 2019, so a little over, about 8 months ago actually, we decided to move to Boise. My wife has family here out in Nampa, and it was kind of one of those, well, we'll get into a pivotal points of Fitted where we knew we wanted to scale and grow. We knew we were onto something special, and we wanted to put our roots down as we grow, rather than grow, and then decide to move.
Gotcha.
So from both a family standpoint and a business standpoint, we thought Boise was the place to come. Also, we've got 4 young kids at home. Wanted to get out of the chaos per se. If it was up to me, I'd be on top of a mountain, then another mountain on top of that mountain, so that no one can find me when I'm with the kiddos. So this is basically as far as my wife will let me go.
Well, welcome to Idaho. Sounds like you found the right place, especially with the mountain on top of a mountain analogy. I like that. Funny story. I actually ran into you. It was on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
I was at Trailhead. I think I was cleaning up after an event, and you were out walking with your family, and I was walking out of Trailhead, and there you were, and all I heard was, "What is Trailhead?" And that was my cue. I just jumped right in and gave you a sales pitch, and been really trying hard to get you moving to Trailhead ever since. But that's when I met you. And so let's talk about the business real quick. Before I get into the history of it, why don't you give us just a quick overview of what Fitted is and what it does?
Yeah. So we're a B2B solution for basically in the channel of athletic specialty. We are scaling into some other verticals, but we were really built, because of my background, to be a solution, a very comprehensive one for B2C and B2B. In the run specialty space. Then it became the specialty athletic space.
Okay.
Because it's a very high touch industry, and it's so focused currently on brick and mortar, and the world is not. And we wanted to be the self-driving car of retail, to be honest. And that's kind of how we see ourselves. So we do turnkey e-com, automated payments we just got into between brands and retailers, as well as fulfillment between brands and retailers.
Lots of golden nuggets there. We'll dive into a few of those. So essentially, your customers are brick and mortar athletic specialty stores.
And brands, correct.
And brands. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So you dropped something about your background in there. Let's pull on that thread. I know that you are an owner of a shoe store.
Yeah.
And so tell me about that. So how did you get into that business?
Yeah, that's a good story. I actually worked in college, and that's a rough way to say it, because I spent about half a minute in college until I was like, I don't want to do this. But I was working at a running shop at the time in the South, and it was one of those incredible experiences where you learn everything not to do. And I'm not saying it was bad. It was one of the most valuable experiences of my life, right? I do it over again a million times, because it really, and I was extremely young at the time. I was like, screw this, I can do this myself, right? Little did I know. So I started my first retail operation 10 years ago, actually, just a few weeks ago. We hit our 10 years, and we opened up Run Specialty. I was a runner in high school and college, and that's what I knew, and I wanted to do that. And we have 3 retail operations in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and 2 locations south of that still.
So you're a runner, so you're obviously passionate about it.
Yep.
It was your side gig in college, even though it was just for a brief minute.
Yeah.
And so, through that, you decide to open up a store. Then what happens? I believe there was more than one store. You said there was 3 stores.
Yeah. So we built it up. We actually built it up into 5 locations at one point. Quickly scaled down, and at some point you just say, I want to change and I want to revolutionize the industry, because there's so many pain points, but I couldn't do that from a brick and mortar. There's a lot of capital intensive. There's only so much. It's you against the world, the other retailers. When I saw an opportunity of, wow, retailers are so far from where they need to be, and that's why it was like, why not create a software that can start bridging the gap.
Okay, so when you had 5 stores and you scaled back down to 3, it sort of signified a pain point of the brick and mortar's ability to scale potentially. Okay, so that was rooted there. I see.
Yeah.
I see. So those 3 are still intact, as I understand. They're still in
I
business.
sure hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
Good.
back in California. We have an incredible team. I'm completely hands off. I pay a bill here and there, but no, I'm 1,000% fitted.
So at what point? Again, you scaled back down to 3, but at what point in there did you uncover this problem per se that Fitted is addressing, and when did you decide to actually build a solution around it?
Yeah, I mean, if you look back, if I think back to how long ago when the problem happened right after starting the company, right? I knew that I needed a digital solution. I didn't want to have a digital solution because I love working person to person on the sales floor every day and fulfilling that interaction and that specialty. But especially being in the Bay Area, we knew we had to go digital. So, we'll say at year 5 of the business, we tried a few e-com plays, however you want to call it. Didn't work out for various reasons, which led us exactly into our company now. And still, honestly, that's why I still have those stores, is because I make sure, because I always want to live those pain points to make sure that we are on the ball with what we're trying to fix.
Okay, so you decide to solve the problem, launch Fitted. How long did it take before Fitted was an actual business from just the idea of the product?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I'm pretty brash, I don't know if brash, impulsive. As in like when when I want to do something, usually do it. I'll jump first and then look where I'm falling, which is never good. But yeah, I'd say started playing around with the idea 2 years ago, and then.
Oh, it's that recent? Okay.
Oh, yeah. And then, we officially formed about a year and a half ago, but we really went, and again, it was part-time because I was still doing stores, but I built a team at the stores. So I had my 2 business partners at that time that I found through just relationships that were much smarter than me, and I just talked a lot, but they were the kind of the engineers.
Those are the good ones, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just went through our relationships and my relationships with the brands and retailers that I'd made and started trying to do that. And we formed our company in early 2019 officially. And we had our first beta. I don't know. I mean, my stores were our first beta,
Yeah, let's talk. So your first customer, that was my next question.
Yeah.
You were your own first customer then?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, very separate. That was a big thing to keep the 2 companies 100% separate at all times, not sharing resources, not sharing.
So it had a supplier-vendor relationship.
Yep, yeah, completely. I didn't charge myself, but yes, it's it's great because we were able to learn so much. I mean, still to this day, our stores can be petri dishes. So fast learning, right? Which is so awesome.
So in those early days, what was there an aha moment on a certain assumption you made? Or as you deployed, Fitted onto your own business, was there something you uncovered you didn't expect, or were things pretty much linearly sort of following the path that you thought they would?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like I said, I jump and I dream and and I think if you asked my business partner, my 2 co-founders, they'd tell you, there was a few moments along the way when they're like, oh man, this actually can be something. When I was hoping that there always. Or it could be, there was, when you can get the team, aka the retailer, which happened to be my own, I owned it, but still, when my team at A Runner's Mine, had the looks on their faces and the change that it made in their business, and I consider them one of the top retailers out there in their industry, that's when I think it was like, oh yeah. And it was really the brands. I mean, we spent 15 months, we bootstrapped it, and we spent 15 months working on brands behind the scene. No one even knew about Fitted, but brands sure did, and it took a while to convince. And once we had one fall, which was the biggest one.
Let's talk about that pivotal moment.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
What does that brand represent in terms of, becoming the customer and then the rest of the story?
Yeah, I mean, Nike, biggest athletic company in the world, really focused on their digital and their own digital, to be specific, At the time, they had closed 300, 400 digital accounts over the course of 2 years, and they essentially opened up one, and that was us. Entrusted in what we were doing, because we weren't just a software that was transactional. We were bringing the experiential piece of a brand to a consumer, to the end consumer ultimately, using the retailer as a vessel. And so once we got Nike, who happens to be on our advisory board, which is pretty exciting.
So that came with it. So expertise, not just a
Yeah,
customer.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, we focused. We took a lot of trips up to Portland. Them and On. We think those are the two most innovative, fastest growing athletic company in the world, which is On. And Nike, who's already the 3 billion-pound gorilla. We felt like if those guys really truly understand and support what we're doing, everyone else will follow.
So in terms of value proposition to the retailer and versus the brands, is there a difference? Does the brand, get different value out of working with Fitted than a retailer, or is it essentially the same proposition
No,
for both?
it's they're different. I mean, that's why they're different customers of ours in a way, and different revenue streams. But ultimately, our goal as retailers, and if I put on my retailer hat, it's to serve you as a consumer, right?
Okay.
And to make sure that you're having a brand experience. The devil A word, as I call it, the Amazon, they don't give an experience. It's a transactional. And there are culture companies, and then there are just corporate companies, as I like to think of it.
Oh, okay.
And again, not everyone has their missteps, but we wanted to really turn every good athletic specialty store that told a story, like the ones I'm sure all of us have grown up going to. We wanted to give them a fighting chance and essentially create a localized marketplace where we could turn their site into something that had more resources from an inventory, fulfillment, and even speed of payment, bigger than a monster.
So as a small mom and pop shop, and I'm assuming most, or at least a big chunk of these stores are small mom and pop
a lot of
shops,
them.
brick and mortar, locally owned. It's sort of the story that I hear is they don't have the resources and the capital to compete with these
100%.
biggest. And so you as an owner sort of felt that.
100%.
So at the end of the day, if a store owner wins, that's when Fitted wins, right? So you're.
Yeah,
Is that a good way of looking
I mean,
at it?
ultimately, it's the consumer, that we're trying to please, but we're a B2B company, and we're really making a special relationship and automation between the brands and the retailer, which is changing that relationship. But everyone needs to always have the most important thing is to make sure that product that these two guys are selling is still being bought.
Gotcha.
Right. And we just want to help automate that so that they can focus on what they're best at, which is getting to the consumer, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's pretty cool. So you basically create that experience for the consumer on behalf of the retailer.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of trust for them to put in you, because they're basically delegating. If they're a culture company, they're delegating to you the piece that, in part, sets them apart from other brands.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason. Again, that's why we went after big brands first, right, and kind of got their support. So then we were able to go to retailers and say, hey, look, Nike trusts us. Hey, look, On trusts us, for example. And when we baited with the most vocalized, well-respected retailers in our industry. Right?
Okay.
We didn't go after the monsters, right? We went after the guys that all 3,000 mom and pop shops know and go to when they want advice, right? Like true independent specialty. And that's who we decided, and I guess it's worked a little bit.
Cool.
So
let me take us sort of through this then. The move to Boise, it was also a business decision, like you said.
Sure.
And so far, it's called Founders War Stories. I haven't heard of any punches in the gut yet for Fitted. But so there's the move to Boise, and then somewhat shortly thereafter, the pandemic hits.
Yeah.
And so talk me through those couple of months in your business as the pandemic was approaching and then it hit. What did it do to your business?
Yeah, I mean, so the pandemic blew up our business in a great way, as horrible as it is to say that, but no, it really did. I mean, we had exponential growth overnight type deal. I mean, one of those crazy, all of a sudden someone poured gasoline on us while we were sleeping, and we woke up and it was on fire.
Is it as simple as I own a shoe store, I have no e-commerce presence, and now overnight no one walks through the door? Is that basic?
100%. Yeah, think about it. I mean, we built this concept and we always pitched it to retailers and brands like, hey, by 2023, you're going to be doing 20% of your business online. I know you're doing 0 or 1% now. You better get on Fitted, eventually. But it was a real slow strategy. I mean,
You're evangelizing people in an idea.
we had 15 very strategic retailers. We'd loved more, but I say we had 15 strategic, but that's basically what we had, right?
Yeah.
And they were good retailers, but again, we had to figure out. And in March, we added 50 national partners, right? Which was wild to put in perspective. But going into that, talk about gut checks and everything. I mean, we were in the middle of raising. I mean, that's terrifying, right? We moved to Boise because we're onto something special. We want to raise money. And if we raise money in the Bay Area, you're staying in the Bay Area, right? Like, go tell a guy that just gave you $500,000 or whatever, hey, by the way, thanks, I'm going to Boise, right? No, it's not going to happen. So we made a real leap of faith, and it took a lot of convincing of me to my business partners to come out here. And then all of a sudden, business is business, and then the pandemic hits. And I mean, the first day or so, you see the pandemic happening, especially because I own a retail store back there, right? And I'm getting some relay, and we literally, I won't tell you what we had in our bank account, but it was like, guys, we're going to bootstrap this because we know we're special. We're going to bootstrap. We're going to put everything we have. Don't tell our wives. Let's go, right? And then all of a sudden we have 50 retailers, and we're telling ourselves, okay, we'll be profitable by May, which is nuts, right? We're hoping 18 months out, right? And that's where I happen to check in with one investor just to kind of check in, and then it's the whole FOMO. It's no one wanted to be the first in, but when it happened, it happened. So
traction really then justified.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously needed it, but we also were having a blast with our business, and it was that grind.
So huge leap of faith. I mean, at this point, you double down. You're still not quite sure what's going to happen coming out the other end because this investor hasn't committed at the time.
Yeah. And again, we're entrepreneurs. I mean, you say you're going to get through it no matter what, because if you believe in their concept enough, you say, I am going to sell everything that I own to make this work, when you really find that one idea, if that makes sense.
And
right?
your business partners are right along with you, and that kind of philosophy?
Yeah. I say that because they're more conservative. I think they said 3 words in the first 10 years I knew them. So, but
yes, no, and maybe.
yeah. No, but they're in it, absolutely. They're 100% in it. I'm just the one that's running around with my hair on fire and speaking for them. So, yeah. But when you find that, I'm sure all these founders when you have that idea, you're like, I'm going to make this work.
So how was it raising around during a pandemic? Did you close it? Did you?
Yeah, we closed in June.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was nice. Thank you. Yeah, we subscribed, which was awesome.
Oversubscribed during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Right trend, good timing.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with this round? What's kind of next on the horizon in terms of deploying this capital and growth for Fitted?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, again, we just, I'd mentioned earlier this payments. This payments is a really exciting piece that we just, we'll say, came upon this concept. We call it our Fitted single-click fulfillment and payment option, and it's really exciting and scalable. And so we're putting a lot engineering power behind that.
Anything that keeps you up at night about that payment piece? It seems
everything.
You said exciting and scalable, and those usually
So
bring some risks with them.
And I'm sure I'm speaking to most entrepreneurs out there, but you have an idea, and if it doesn't scare you, it probably isn't worth it, right? Because that means it's already been done. So what are you doing, right? Or it's been done, and there's just not that much of a market, right? And so the payment part that we've thought, it's you go through why hasn't it been done the way that we're planning on doing it and built to do it, and that's why brands and retailers are so excited. You ask why, and there's usually a very good reason why.
Because
Yeah,
we've always
very
done
good
it this
reason
other
why.
way.
Yeah. But that shouldn't stop you. But that's going to take some capital, and yeah, I mean it's really, we are so, at first it was like, can we get enough retailers, right? And then once we've now built up to 100 plus retailers, national partners, it's like, okay, now we switch, we almost did some of this Trojan horse kind of thing. It's like, oh, now we've got the retailers, now we can leverage that and go back to the brands and say, here's why you need to use not just this piece of our solution, but this piece of our solution. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Yeah,
it was
I like
kind of
that.
like we tapped the brands, and the scary part is, remember, this is all dependent upon them saying yes, right? I mean, you're selling something every day, and so yeah, this next opportunity does keep me up at night because I believe in it. But just because you believe in something doesn't mean your consumer is.
Wise words, yeah. I like that, especially as a consumer myself. Look, we're pretty much out of time. But before we get off, I wanted to touch on one more thing, if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
So, look, I talk to entrepreneurs from California from time to time. Some of them call and want to kind of know, like, hey, what's going on over there in Boise? We hear great things. We may want to move our company there. So you've actually done this, right?
Right.
You brought your company, you brought people with you. It's been kind of cool to watch. And then you raised money here in this community as perceivably as an outsider, both personally, and in your company. And so, being on the outside, I only saw you go around town and do your work and pitch to these various groups. What was that experience like? And like, who did you talk to? Are there, people on your cap table that you can share? Like, who dropped money into Fitted?
When we do something, I think this is my motto, along with a lot of founders. Like, if you're going to do something, you do it 120% good or bad, right? And when we wanted to raise money, when we moved to Boise, like, it was like, guys, we are not saying that we're like, oh, we're Silicon Valley, but we're kind of in Boise. It's like, nope, we are 100% Boise headquartered, right? All in. And when I moved here, keep in mind, I was the only person from my company here.
Uh-huh.
I had, 3 others out in California, but guess what? On any time you talk to any of us, we're a Boise, headquartered company, and except there's some random dude running around, Idaho. So we went all in on that, and we were extremely fortunate. Everything happens for a reason, and I ran into you very early on with my family. I was actually there trying to convince them that's why I'm moving the company and my family. All the grandkids, I'm moving out here, and they're like, why? And so we ran into you, and the first person on a business side was you I connected with, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you never
Random,
have
but yeah.
responded, I don't know. Maybe we would have only California money, and it wouldn't mean as much as it does now to us, right? I mean, we really want to be Idaho focused, Boise focused. And
Look, there's a
trailhead.
lot of excitement around Fitted, and
Yeah.
and just for me, as the ED at Trailhead, to see private industry in Boise embrace a startup that comes here from Silicon Valley, and there's all these jokes about bumper stickers and keep Californians out.
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
was
yeah.
quite the opposite. You came, you got traction. It seemed like the community welcomed you.
Yeah.
It's sort of my job to welcome you. I would have welcomed you anyways, but. I did my job that day, but it seems like, the more people I talk to in this community, people ask me about, so what's Fitted up to? What are they doing? And that's just pretty cool to see in such a short amount of time. And I hope to use, Fitted's story kind of as call it a case study, for other California founders that are going to call me. I hope to be like, well, you know what? Give Monte a call and ask him how his experience went. Because so far, again, founder war stories, haven't heard a lot of war-like scenarios in your experience, especially in Boise.
Yeah, I mean, our and my, again, I'm not an engineer myself. My team's biggest concern was talent, to be honest. They said,
It's a
first of
valid
all, they're
concern.
like, Idaho, where is Idaho? If I'm
Not
gonna be
Iowa.
honest. Not Iowa. No. So yeah. So anyways, and we came down, and at you helped us find some headhunters, and we got one, and it's been an incredible. There is so much hidden talent, and it's not even hidden. There's so many incredible, you know, I mean, when we want to go fishing for talent, we have we have 3 people lined up in a week that we would hire in a heartbeat. And that's been one of the surprising. Investors have been great. Capital 11 guys are phenomenal. You know, they're through a friend of a friend that you've, you know, referred to. Trolley House, you know, a few of those guys kind of got in individually, which we're going to reward them very well.
Great. Yeah, I want to definitely celebrate those guys because that's how
Idaho CB.
ecosystems work.
Yep. So they jumped, and especially during a pandemic, that's got to be scary as an angel investor.
That must be so validating on the flip side
So
to you guys.
validating. Yeah. It's. I mean, we're very appreciative. It was not easy getting money, and then when we stopped focusing on getting money, it came. One of those things. A lot of things in life, when you stop looking, they actually come to you. But you know, we're very fortunate, and we're going to take very good care of them.
You know, welcome to Idaho. We love the fact that Fitted is here. Thank you very much for joining in today.